In my last video, I covered the stage of Biden's Halloween party. Now, I will cover some of the costumes. It's good some people caught on to certain aspects of the imagery being shown, but a lot was missed. So I will add on to this topic by exposing more of the hidden messaging. Now, when going through these costume images, they won't likely be in order in which they appeared in the event. However, I will say that it is apparent to me these costumes were not picked at random by their parents. This Halloween party is a staged event. It is a ritual. It seems to me that all of the parents that showed up had a connection to the Biden administration. Maybe they were government employees or corporate or something. So I'm guessing these parents were given a list of costumes to choose from. Once a costume was picked, it would be marked off the list, except for costumes that need a specific number to show up. I saw multiple Spider-Man and chicken costumes. I don't remember the count, but I'm guessing there were 3 Spider-Man costumes. This would signal the coming Web 3. Spider-Man symbolizes the internet. That said, let's get started. I will start with the twins. At the event, some girls dressed up as the twins from the Shining movie. That particular movie had a lot of symbolism in it. So why tell parents to dress their children like that? Remember, there is a twinning aspect to this time period we are in. The possession. The other spirit entering the host's body. 2 spirits in one body. One is the human soul, and the other is more demonic. This is also reflected in Heidi Klum's Halloween party. At her event, 2 women showed up as twins. In this case, though, one showed up in a black dress for the dark spirit, and the other in a white dress for the spirit of light. In the movie Captain America: Civil War, there's a scene with Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. By this point in the movie, the 2 have parted ways on a particular issue. So Tony brings a set of pins that his dad owned as a peace offering. It is a set of 2 pins, or twins. What are the pins filled with? Black ink. Or one could think of it as black goo. The pins themselves can represent needles, so the needles filled with the black goo, or maybe graphene. Steve Rogers gets offended at something Tony says, and he returns one of the pins. He tells Tony, "I would hate to break up the set." The twin pins become one again, just like the Twin Towers become the One World Tower. This is the combining of the human seed and the serpent seed. This is the twinning, the 2 becoming one. Also notice in the image of the twins that there is a kid dressed as Flaming Cheetos. I saw that in some other video, these flaming hot kind of chips have some kind of chemical in them, that it creates a translucent mouse in studies, if I remember correctly. Now for the next image. This one has a girl with the number 99 on the back of her shirt. That is a Gemini or twin number. This is referenced by the song 99 Red Balloons by Nina. It's an 80s song. Who also had red balloons? The It Clown from Stephen King's movies and book. And yes, there was a girl there at the Biden Halloween event that was dressed as the It Clown. She was carrying a red balloon. So 2 Stephen King references in this Halloween event, the twins and the It. The It being the injections. Now notice there is a kid with a shark costume behind the girl with the 99 shirt. Remember what I said about what sharks symbolized in the last video? They represented the demonic spirit. The sharks coming through the portal like in Sharknado, or the possessed lady who looked like a shark in the movie Legion. The red balloon idea may sound far-fetched, but in a sense it happened in real life. Toward the end of World War II, the Japanese planned to release balloons to be carried over the U.S. with a bioweapon. Some would also have explosives. This plan was called Operation Cherry Blossom. Cherries are red. And don't forget, in the Metallica video for All Nightmare Long, Balloons released a bioweapon. Now for the next image. One of the kiddos that Biden acted like he was trying to bite was a child with an ice cream cone costume. The kid's mother was dressed as the ice cream truck driver. Well, this is another reference to the injections. The injections were kept in icy conditions. I mentioned the movie Legion in the last video. In it, there is also an ice cream truck driver who gets possessed, making the association between the icy temperatures and the possession. In the movie Zombieland, one of the characters ends up driving in an ice cream truck. So why the symbolism of an ice cream truck in a zombie movie? I'll let you work that one out. Another thing I noticed was that there was a few kids and one adult with chicken costumes. This has a dual meaning. The one most people figured out was the child love aspect. There is an old South Park cartoon that reflects this. It is the Chicken Lover episode. Remember, you don't get to the top unless you make the deal. And the South Park creators are no different. They sold their soul also. In the Chicken Lover episode, the red-haired rainbow character not only likes chickens, but drives a bus. This is a reading bus with books in it. So essentially, a library. What did I say about libraries in the last video? They are full of reeds, as in the plant. Reeds are needles. They also make up Pan's pipes for sound for frequency. So, it's an injection reference also. What do the chicken costumes also represent? A part of the process that the injections undergo. It's a process called candling. The injection makers use eggs to make their concoctions. Then they hold up the egg to a candle or light to see inside the egg. So once again, it's about the injections. And here's something funny to trigger those who voted. To those who gave their oath to a man who has a gold toilet. There is an SNL skit with Trump in it. In this skit, people dress up as chickens, and Trump is dressed in a yellow suit. Well, that skit was a metaphor for the injections. Trump to this day still brags about warp speed. And don't worry, more injections are on the way. Some people also noticed the costume that Jill Biden was wearing, calling it another reference to child love. However, I also think it is a reference to China. In the Resident Evil game, they have modifications for characters in the game, so the main characters or zombies can be changed into something else. Well, there's a mod to turn this zombie character into a panda, symbolizing China and the biological event. Just like the game Resident Evil is about a biological event. Remember what I said about umbrellas? That they represent syringes? Well, as many people know, the Umbrella Corporation exists in the Resident Evil game. There is another South Park episode with a panda in it. He is called Sexual Harassment Panda. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Alright, I'm not going to cover every costume from Biden's event, although I will amend something from the last video. I mentioned the vine and its flowers on the stage. Well, after a closer look, I noticed they weren't flowers, but books on the vine. So, there are reeds on the vine, or needles on the vine. Vines are kind of like networks, as in cell phone networks. Just something to think about. I will now go over some costumes from Heidi Klum's party. Well, here are a couple of Grease costumes. So what is Grease? Besides being a cult movie, it is also a dark liquid, meaning a black goo reference. Why all of the black goo references? Well, that's what's in some of the injections. Here, Ice-T and his woman dress up in the colors of evil, red, white, and black. Notice that one of the hammers has a spiral on it. Remember, spirals are portals. Hammers drive nails. Nails are kind of like needles. Syringes are like portals for the black goo. And don't forget that the injections were stored in icy conditions. So here's iced tea for ya. Now this weirdo dressed up in a black dress with feathers. Its makeup is done like that of a clown, sort of. However, it made me think of one of the cryptid monsters. I don't know its name, but I have seen the images. It is a creature with a white face and red lips, like the costume weirdo. The creature also has black feathered wings. I'll let you think about that one. The last costume I will mention is the one of Wonder Woman. This one might go over people's heads. However, right off the bat, this woman crosses her arms to form an X. The human and the serpent seeds crossing over, like a railroad sign. And, of course, everyone loves Elon and his X. Then there is the Wonder Woman logo. It is similar to the graphic used to depict the molecule of sulfur. The sulfur molecule image, when faced a certain way, looks like two W's together. Sulfur is mentioned in the Bible. And there are still people to this day who buy into the Alex Jones psyop. Just look at his logo. There is a W splitting the two arrows representing the I. The W for the sulfur molecule. The I for the as above, so below. And of course, it's all enclosed by a hexagon. Well, this video has gone on long enough. I hope this helps people understand these Satanists better. It would be a good time to accept Jesus if you have not done so already.